And at closing time, our tenants are reporting that they're being woken up on a regular basis by loud exiting of the parking area, basically. A lot of talking, lights, you know, people yelling, all sorts of things like that. They've called in several reports to the police without any results, which was disappointing, but basically the police told them, what do you want us to do? So we were forced to make up some temporary signs to try to hopefully initiate the crowd to the fact that we don't want people parking there. So we put signs up stating no restaurant parking, trying to keep it general, but so that they can spot it as they pull in, and hopefully they wouldn't pull in. But I think the issue is that the parking lot where they ought to be is full. I don't see any other reason for this to be happening. The distance to walk from our building to the tavern entrance is greater than it would be from their own parking lot. So quite honestly, I've not witnessed this happening. It's happening in the middle of the night. I'm getting reports from our tenants the next day that they're upset that they were disturbed that night. What I'm concerned about is if we don't find a way to deal with this and it becomes a bigger problem as the weather warms up and people want to be outside more, the sound becomes more of an issue, and possibly the parking situation. So basically that's what I'm here to, as I say, as an advocate for our tenants, that they're having issues, and I'm afraid it's going to get worse rather than improve. Now, I was, before I came to this meeting, quite honestly, I was assuming that this was increase of seating above and beyond the 200. But really, my main concern is that why is the parking not handling the load? And why is it necessary for as many as, say, a dozen cars or more to surround our building when they have a brand new parking lot and they have a fairly sizable portion of the building yet unused? So where are we headed is really my concern.
When you talk to the police,
Excuse me, Mr. Messeri, I did not talk directly to the police. I directed our tenants to call them.
Oh, okay, so you don't know exactly what they asked?
I don't.
I don't know whether they were complaining about someone in their parking space or whether they were complaining about the noise. Or
We, you know, over the years, as I say, we have kind of a mixed-use area. We have our own business on the north end, the beauty salon, and then around the corner, we prefer the area to be left for the tenants parking. We have two-bedroom apartments upstairs, and then the beauty salon. We have never really designated whose parking space is whose, because we haven't had to, and we don't want to deal with the signs, and I'm sure everybody else doesn't want to deal with signs. So as long as the peace was kept, we left it to work itself out. If, you know, the tenants parked over here, maybe we had room over there, that kind of thing. So it isn't taking spots. What it is being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, really. So anyway, those are our concerns. And as I say, it's, you know, with a new business, we felt that they were going to see a big push at the beginning. Things would calm down, just like the problems we dealt with through the development of the lot. We knew, you know, that's all going to go away. The contractors will go on their way, and we won't have to deal with problems like that anymore. But as I say, the building is not completely occupied, and it's winter, or we're coming out of the winter. So I'm worried that this situation is going to get worse, and the fact that we have people leaving a tavern with their cars on our lot, and we may have to deal with problems of their behavior, their trash, that sort of thing. We don't want it. We want to make sure that what they need for parking for their business is in their lot, not ours.
anyone else in the audience that would like to make a comment? Yes, sir.
Hi,
Name
I'm
and
Peter
address.
Gluck. I live at 6 Bluff Avenue, and my concern too is the noise that patio is going to bring. I do enjoy my backyard. I do enjoy the peace and quiet. I moved there 25 years ago. It was nice. It's been nice. But now that this restaurant's moved in, it's getting loud. This patio is going to bring a lot of noise. People are not quiet. When they get a little alcohol in them and they come out at 1 in the morning, they're loud. And we hear it. Nobody else hears it. But I know Mr. O'Walk, he hears it. He lives right there. He's in that parking lot, and I'm next to it. And if you could do me a favor and not approve this, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.
Anyone else? I was going to suggest, based on the feedback, that we delay making a decision this evening on this and talk to the CPC and get ideas what they might have in working with Great American Tavern personnel and trying to mediate some of the issues that have been raised today.
Can I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
What if we met in the middle and only allowed outdoor seating during the daytime, and then allowed that outdoor patio where it'll be confined with a fence to be the designated spot for the smokers to go at night?
That seems like a reasonable.
That's it's gonna give you less noise than if they were out in the parking lot in a free-for-all. At least they'll be confined and it'll be quieter for you. I mean, we're trying to work with you guys, you know. But our only argument is that at the beginning, when we went and signed this lease, that was part of our application, and we're paying rent for that space that now we potentially won't be allowed to use. So we'd like to be able to use it at least sometime. During the day, it shouldn't be a big deal for anybody. At nighttime, I completely understand your concerns and would definitely, you know, allow us the ability to keep people in a confined area and be able to monitor them and keep the noise down at least more so than they are already, where they can go anywhere in the parking lot and smoke.
I think it's a reasonable compromise on your part, especially where I believe the intent of this board when you first came before us was for that license to include that outside.
That's what I'm saying, is
that
initially.
outside seating.
Yeah, I
But
thought it
think-
did.
I did too.
Yeah, I think we're all under that same assumption. However, obviously, you have seen this evening that there are issues in the neighborhood, and we have to consider
Yeah,
that. So I
absolutely.
think that's a reasonable compromise. You're saying daytime.
Yep, just we'll shut it down at, I don't know, 6 o'clock?
So from 6 o'clock on,
It'll be just
for
designated smokers.
Designated smoking area.
Yeah. No food
What-
service or beverage service.
What will you do concerning Mr. O'Rourke's concern about the parking? Appears to be patrons of your establishment out in his area.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him, I don't know where you are. Where are you exactly? So I just don't know where your lot is.
We've been in the building just south of you for the last.
The refrigeration.
Is it the refrigeration building? Okay, and I saw that you guys put A-frame signs out, no parking from restaurant.
We did, yeah.
Okay, all right, so I know where he is now, but, tell me if I'm wrong, but as of late, I think that's resolved the problem. I didn't realize anybody from the restaurant was parking there. I know none of our employees do. But that whole right side as you come in is all where we have our employees park. So anywhere else in the back would be where the restaurant patrons would go. I wasn't aware of it until now, other than I had seen the signs go up,
Well,
which
I'm sure you
indicated,
must have seen the
no,
signs.
that's what I mean, which indicated there was a problem.
Yeah, and I knew that you had to know that. You know, we spent $600 on signs to put around the building, and, you know, the most prominent thing says, no restaurant parking, you know. But
Yeah.
quite honestly, we don't want these signs. We don't want to have to deal with that problem.
Mhm.
My real concern is, why is it happening?
Well, I can't go out there during the night and make sure that everybody on the street is parking in the lot. It's,
I have an idea as to
how
why.
do I do it?
Let me just say this, if your lot is full,
Yeah.
there's something wrong.
No,
And it-
I have an idea as to why it's happening. The way the building's designed, if you drive up, you may think that's the front, and you just park where they should be parking, thinking there's an entrance on that side where it would normally be, but the entrance is in back.
That's possible.
So I think it may be people, first-timers coming to the restaurant that don't know. I think that's part of the problem. But there needs to be a solution to that, and also your noise problem at the end of the evening, there's got to be something you can do concerning crowd control, as people are leaving at 1:30 in the morning. I mean, I feel for these people who are,
I do too.
and I'm sure you do.
I do
I'm sure
too.
you do.
I mean, and we want to try to find a way to help them, but then make it a kind of a win-win for both of us.
And maybe our doorman
Yeah,
can sort of do crowd control at the end of the evening.
yeah.
Ma'am?
Well, isn't this, you know, it seems to me that what we're saying here
Could-
tonight is,
could
you
you
know,
come
the
up to the-
Disneyland effect and
Excuse me,
everything.
ma'am. Could you come up to the microphone? It's for the purpose of our listening audience.
You know, thank you. I'm Melanie LaRocque, and we live on Porter Road. And, you know, I mean, we like small businesses. We like having the restaurant there. But I think that one of the issues that's going on here doesn't even have anything to do with the restaurant. It's more the site, the restaurant, and the landlord. I mean, I don't think, you know, when we were coming up with the approval for the plans, the original plans that were in the newspaper and that people looked at were completely different from what ultimately was put up. So that's, I think, why you see so many of us here tonight, and because we don't think that it is really the fault of the restaurant. The noise is ridiculous. At 1 o'clock in the morning, it's not just people entering, you know, and leaving the restaurant. They're getting in their cars. The noise from the cars, they crank up the radio because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's significant to those of us that live in the neighborhood. The lights are glaring. I mean, there's nothing else like it in the town. This isn't anything to do with the restaurant, but it does indeed affect all of us that live around it. If we just continue to, like, you know, not do some things here to get the attention of the landlord, I mean, it's what are we going to do? Approve it tonight, and then like 6 months from now, try to get, you know, a whole band of people from the neighborhoods together to like shut down the restaurant because it's way too noisy? Don't we have anything we can do right now to appeal to the landlord, the owner of the property, to do? He should do something to restrict the noise. Why should it be the restaurant's problem to put in additional landscaping? I mean, I think the patio is going to be on the side, isn't it, gentlemen, as well? I mean, those of us on, you know, like Porter and Chester, I mean, right now, anybody standing out there can see straight up into our houses and into our windows. There's nothing to protect any of us. And the noise is going to get worse once the windows open. One only hopes that we really will open the windows one of these days, you know, and it will warm up. But I mean, I don't know if we can do something with it, but I would strongly ask you to please consider that. See if there is a way that we can go back to the landlord and get him to act quickly on something before we go and approve things and then come back at the end of the year screaming and yelling, you know, and you know, having to take extra action. Better to fix up front, I think. Anyway, thank you. And gentlemen, thank you. You know, we do hope that you continue to do well.
Thank you.
Mr. Carucci.
First of all, I want to say that Mr. Palmer has done very well for the organizations in North Reading since he's been there. My suggestion would be get back to the CPC and get some things straightened out before you go any further.
Anyone else with input before we, Mr. Yu?
Yes. I think the sentiment here is by the residents that the prime concern obviously is the noise. And that does need to be addressed. And I think your suggestion and your willingness to enclose the eating area, have limited use of it is commendable. I think everybody appreciates that here. But I think Chuck's point is that we still need to go back to the CPC and have them clear up some issues. I have a